Good afternoon, everyone. It is Wednesday, October 9th here at KIT Iizuka, third period English 5C. This is class number 2. I just want to go over the things that we're going to be doing from today and a little bit from last week because, it's only been the second week of classes. As usual, what I did last week with, oops, I have to refresh this, with recording the explanation that will go up here in class 1 explanation. And if you didn't come to class last week, you can always watch this video and take a look at the things that I mentioned that are important. But generally, you can also just tell very easily by looking at the listing here. Last week we did the Quizlet, and the only thing that you really had to do was to write your reflection on report on what you had to do. The assignment is already late, but it's late, but you can still submit. Now, as I said last week, a lot of you who were probably wondering, why did I get such a low grade on my class? I had a good test. I did very well in the speaking test, but my grade is only a C+. A lot of the time, it's because a lot of these reflections were not done. You didn't do them. And if you don't do 3 or 4 of these reflections, then that's going to start bringing your grade down. So I suggested, even if you forgot, check to make sure on the Moodle that everything that you needed to do was actually done. And as I said last week, if you can start using these mark done buttons, you can see what you've done or what you haven't done. So for example, right here where I mark these green as done, okay, if you click the next one, which is what we're going to view today in working in Japan, that too will turn green. That will turn green. You've checked, okay, I did that. And it'll also check here too. Okay, now I want to check that a little bit later, but you can start to see how this is done. If you did your reflection, okay, you can mark that, you can mark that done. On the main page, so the reflection mark is done. Good, it's done. And if it doesn't have that green mark, if it doesn't have that green mark, then that means you should check. Did you do it or didn't you do it? Okay, this week, class number 2, I'm going to be going over the Quizlet here as well too, and your reflection, okay? Your reflection this time is on email, a little bit different, a little bit, I want to say higher level. The first email video that you did in the first semester was by me. This one is by a guy who works at Google. He worked for the Harvard Business Review. So this is a fairly high level introduction into what is really necessary for email, not just in English, but also if you start working in Japanese. It is not the same thing as texting somebody. You have to be very careful. You have to be very formal. So please make sure about that. We're going to be doing some shadowing, okay? And yeah, that's about it. Also, if you haven't or if you forgot the software downloads, we're going to be using Counter again. We always use Quizlet and Duolingo, but Counter, this Counter software, please make sure that you have that because we're going to be using that a little bit later today. If you have any questions, you can always contact me at JDM Cruz. That information is always here. Okay, jdmcruz@gmail.com, or you can come up to me, talk to me anytime after class or before class with any questions that you might have. Okay, thanks very much, everyone. Let's have a good class.